Hello and welcome to Sportspage. I'm Brad Hadank. In this program, I will sit down with various University of Central Missouri athletes, coaches, and supporting staff. These individuals help make Mules and Jennies athletics a success. Today, Jennies softball joins the show. This is Sportspage. Our first guest today is Jennies softball head coach Susan Anderson. Coach Anderson is in her 20th season as head coach of the Jennies. She is a UCM Athletics Hall of Famer and was a student athlete herself here at UCM. Coach Anderson, welcome to Sportspage.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
I want to start with this season. Up to this point, how do you evaluate where your Jennies are?
Super excited with what this group has accomplished so far. One of the goals going into this year was really being more consistent, and I feel like this team has done a lot better in growing and having that growth mindset, and we've done a lot better with that consistency, and that's really helped us because it's been a gauntlet of a season so far, and they've really stepped up to the plate with that.
Talking about consistency, how does a team improve in that specific area?
I feel like one thing that we've really tried to hit upon this year is like the routines and the mental aspect, and like our word for this year is grit, and I feel like it is a very gritty team. We also have 7 seniors. We're a very player-led team with the leadership that we've got, and with that word grit, the G is grow consistently, and then the R is relentless competitor, and that I is intentional, and T is trust. And I really feel like this team has bought into every single one of those words, and you can see it daily.
So with this Jennies culture, do you have a word every year? Does it change?
The word for our culture that never changes is WEFI, and that stands for with each other, for each other. And I feel like they've really encompassed that, and they've really bought in, and we've really tried to highlight that a lot more. Like, we've built in a lot more mental meetings and just really working on routines, and them having like how they respond to events and what they can control. And I feel like just a matter of just breathing and just responding. It's amazing how you can try to just slow everything from here up, because once things get sped up from here, then the game goes a lot faster. So we just really try to make where practices are really sped up, so that way when we get to the games, hopefully everything slows down, and our girls do a really good job of competing and pushing each other, plus supporting and empowering each other.
And you talked about grit. You really have to have that to get through the long softball season. How do you get through a long schedule?
I was going to say there's a lot of recovery that goes along with it. Like after we've traveled for long tournaments and stuff, then usually we would give them Monday off. And I was going to say, especially now that we're in the heart of the season, there's been times where it's just like we'll just give them an extra day, so that way they can get rest, refuel their bodies, take care of any exams or makeup stuff that they have to do, and just really get a lot of sleep. Another thing that we've done is we've moved our lifting to, instead of being early mornings, we've had it where it's like in the mid-morning or afternoon, and it's working around their class schedules. And I think that has helped, just because you want them to try to be where they get as much sleep as possible for recovery, and they've done a really good job with that.
Talking about those lifts, what does that look like for your team?
I was going to say they are loving the lifting right now. I feel like that's really helped with our power, all the things. She's done a great job with our program, and the girls love her, and we love having her come out. So they've really stepped up and taken ownership and worked really hard in the weight room as well as on the field.
You talked about that power. You have 2 players who have over 10 home runs this season. How much of an impact has that made on the softball diamond?
It's been great to see them come through, and it's not only Marissa Johnson and Taylor Thompson, like they're leading our team with 13, but Bailey Brumley, she's got 9, I think, and then we've got some other ones that have had the home runs. But that's a difference maker in the game. Like, that can change a game in just a second, second with just having base runners on, and you get those runs scoring a lot easier. That's been a really game changer for us. But I also feel like with those power numbers, we've also have set the table where we've been having people on base and finding ways on, and that's really been a big key to our success so far.
Yeah, your on-base percentage is really second to none. I believe you have 6 players who have an over 400 on-base percentage. Could you talk about how much of an impact that makes when that many people are getting on base at that high of a percentage?
For sure. I was going to say something that we haven't really discussed as a whole, but something that the coaching staff has really looked at is our walks to strikeout ratio, and what we've done a great job this year is it's been close to 1-to-1. Like, we have walked so many more times this year, and the strikeouts have been right about the same, where in past years the strikeouts have been so much higher. Plus, we've been getting hit by pitch a lot, and then we're finding ways on, and that makes a big difference when you can get on base. And then what's been really clutch as of late is the situational hitting, because I feel like early on when we might have been struggling, like, we were getting base runners on, our offense has been doing such a great job, but then we were leaving those base runners stranded. But as of late, we've done a great job of situational hitting where we've got those runners to come around and score.
A typical softball game is 7 innings in length, but that also means that a lot of times you play double headers. So you're playing 14 innings a day or more if it goes into extra innings. How do you deal with such a long day?
I think that just goes with our girls. Like, they know the grind that comes with it, and we really try to highlight that with the team. Is just with our practices, we try to make them as game-like as possible, so that way when it comes to the games, it's almost like things can slow down, and then they know like how it's a competitive group. Like I said, they are so highly competitive that they push each other at practice, and so that way when it comes to the game, they can kind of slow it down. But it is a grind, and it's one of those, like, you have to have that mindset to keep working through.
Earlier this season, you took 1 of 2 from number 17 in the nation, Central Oklahoma. Then you took both from Rogers State, who was receiving votes in the national poll. What do those kinds of wins say about this Jennies team this season? It's
huge for our girls' confidence. I feel like they are very confident right now, and as they should be, because it's a very talented group. Like, I've been doing a great job on all aspects of the game. Like, the pitching aspect, they've been doing a tremendous job on that. We've reduced our walks. They're letting their defense help them. They're coming up with big strikeouts when they need it. Our offense has been spectacular, so hopefully we can continue that, where we're getting those people on, having the situational hitting. And defensively, this is probably one of the best defensive teams that we've ever had. And then the other thing is base running. Like, we've got a lot of girls with speed, and they're using their instincts. We're doing a great job of stealing bases and taking an extra 60 feet anytime we can. So it's fun to see when you've got the team working on all cylinders. And the last few games where we've had those sweeps against, like you said, UCO, Rogers, but then we also had Northeastern State and Washburn as of late. Those are huge, having those 6 wins. And then, like you said, splitting with the UCO number 17. Very confident. Like, that's really helping our girls with their confidence.
I want to talk about you as a coach for a second. This is year number 20 for you here at UCM. You're a student athlete here. You're in the UCM Athletics Hall of Fame. What does it feel like to now be coaching here for 20 years?
It's a fantastic place. It's such a great place with great people. There was a reason I wanted to come back here. I loved my experience. I loved my coach. I loved my teammates. You're Gens for life here, and just the people, the support that you get here. And Warrensburg is a total college town, so it's a great environment to be with the people that are here, plus the community. It's a great place, and it's a place where you come to compete and win championships.
You talked about the people around you, especially your supporting staff. How much of a role do they play in this team?
It's huge. It's all about who you surround yourself with. I can't say enough about Jeremy Eilert. He's our associate head coach, and he's been phenomenal. This is year 5, I believe. We work really well together. I love the things that he does. He pushes our girls. He does a fantastic job with our catchers, because I know we talked a little bit about how well our pitching is done, but it's big kudos to Taylor Thompson behind the plate and our catchers, because they make our pitchers better, and Jeremy is the big reason as to what those catchers can do with stealing strikes for our pitchers and doing all of that, plus everything that he does for our hitters. I can't say enough great things about Jeremy. He's phenomenal.
And looking at your players, to my count, you have 20 on your roster this season. How do you deal with that with turnover when you're looking to recruit? How does that work?
I was going to say, we've got a big class that we're going to have to be replacing. And when I say a big class, it's a special class with the senior group, with everything that they have given to the sport and everything that they have done to raise Jennies softball up and just to compete. So it's a constant grind where you're looking for athletes that you feel like can come in and step in and be able to be do what it all takes to be a UCM softball player. And it's not just about the talent, it's about being a good human being and developing them so that way they can be leaders for life.
We talked about your hitting a little bit, but your pitchers, Siebenek, Bebb, Brumley, Ducheneau, and Rowe, all have win-loss records that are over 500, especially that pitching side. How big has that been?
It's been really big. We've been without Brooke Weimer from last year, who was all MIAA, and that's a big kudos to all of our pitching staff because they have stepped up in a big way. And I'll really highlight Bailey Brumley. I cannot say enough great things about her. I'm so thankful that we have her. I wish we could have her for more years. We've had her for 2, and the things that she's accomplished during these 2 years has been absolutely amazing. And that just goes for what she is as a Jennies softball player because she's very selfless. She doesn't really want to pitch, but we told her at the very beginning of the year, like, hey, you're going to have to take on more of a pitching role. And she has embraced that so much. And she's a big reason that we're where we are with the success that we've had with her selflessness of taking over that role and just running with it because she is one of the fiercest competitors that I can think of. And like I said, she not only does it in the circle, but she's also one of our better hitters. She's very, I would say she kind of reminds me of Jackie Prater, who was a Hall of Famer for us, where she pitched, played first, and played second base, where she did it all.
Yeah, Bailey will join us in a few moments here on the show, and while we just have a few more moments together, I want to ask you about this Jennies softball program as a whole. If there's someone who hasn't known anything about this program, what do you want them to know?
Come celebrate these young ladies. Like that, not only are they great players, they are just great humans. They're great leaders. They're all about service. They want to empower each other, and it's just they're amazing people to be around. And like I said, they compete and they push each other. They empower each other and they support each other. And it's a very fun environment. And they bring a lot of energy. We talk about that a lot. Is winning the momentum whenever we can, and this group, they will find ways to win the momentum.
Well, Coach Anderson, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a quick break. Jennies player Bailey Brumley will join us right after this. Welcome back to Sportspage. In this next segment, we are joined by Jennies softball player Bailey Brumley. Bailey is a senior who is a native of Blue Springs, Missouri. She has an ERA that sits at around 3 in the circle, and at the plate, she has a batting average right over .350. Bailey, welcome to Sportspage.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I want to go back to day one, if you remember it, getting into softball. Do you know what got you into the sport?
Yes, so actually my mom did. My mom played softball her entire life, coached college, played college, and then she coached me up until I was ready to go to college. So it's been me and her this whole entire time. She got me into pitching and everything, coached me, kind of just raised me on softball. And so that's kind of just been my whole entire life is encompassed around that. And she's taught me everything I know about softball. So.
Yeah, your mom, Kristen, was also a pitcher for the Jennies. How does it feel to play for the Gens just like your mom did?
It feels really good. It feels good to follow in her footsteps because she's somebody that I really look up to and that I really admire as a person and a coach and a mother, of course. And she was a really good softball player. She was a really good pitcher. She was a lot better than I am, and all props to her. She's amazing, and it feels really good to be like her because she did a really great job here.
So when you went to college, you started at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Then you hit the transfer portal. You came to UCM. What went into that decision to choose UCM?
Yeah, so in high school, I actually started, it was between UMKC and UCM, and I chose UMKC, and you know, things didn't go the way I planned them to, and I knew immediately like where I belonged, where I wanted to go, and Coach Anderson was a big part of that. She's a great coach, and I really look up to her as a player as well. So I knew immediately I wanted to come here and be coached by her.
We talked about your pitching side of things, but you also hit the ball really well. Batting average of over 350, so you're a real two-way player. How do you continue to improve in both of those areas?
I'd say that I never really gave up on hitting. I got my bat taken away at my old school, and so something I always kept doing was just hitting every day, even though I wasn't able to. So I continued to try in those areas, and pitching as well, just getting advice from my mom, of course, and our pitching staff here, and our hitting coach, Jeremy. He's helped me a lot, like change my swing overall, and it has really played a big part in these last 2 years, being able to hit the ball again, and so just every day striving to do better in those areas.
Looking at this year specifically, you're top 3 on this Jennies team in batting average, on-base percentage of over 400. What has worked for you this season at the plate?
This season, I'd say that, you know, being my senior year, it kind of just gives you like the opportunity to just relax and know what you're capable of, trust yourself, and I feel like this year I've been a lot more just relaxed overall, and I'm just ready to take on anything. Like nothing's gonna bother me, smiles. So it's been a lot easier to just be where my feet are.
And in the circle, your ERA is right around 3. What's worked for you on the pitching side this season?
I'd say on the pitching side, it's just kind of like getting used to things. I've never really been like a true pitcher. I've never pitched this much actually ever. And so kind of just like leaning on my teammates, because my teammates have been a huge help in that part of my journey so far, and my catchers. They've helped me through a lot of it, and so kind of just like learning myself as a pitcher, like just getting to know myself, what I trust, what I don't trust, and things that I can improve on and not improve on, and I think that's helped a lot this year, is just kind of persevering through that. So. You
talked about your catchers. How do you stay on that same line of communication when it could be a different catcher or they may see a different pitcher every day?
It's really easy because our catchers, they know us very well. They take the time to kind of just like, they work a lot with us. And what I love about our catchers specifically is just that they will, I mean, no matter what, if things are going bad or good in a game, they will sit and talk to you. They'll walk you through everything. And I really like that as a pitcher, because it really just kind of cools down the moment. Sometimes you can get sped up a lot, and they know your cues. Like, they know you better than anyone on the field. They know what stresses you out. They know what speeds you up. And so they know how to control the game with that and just come and talk to you and kind of just relax you a little bit.
And as a pitcher, I'm sure you've experimented with multiple pitches. There's maybe some you've thrown in your life that you don't throw in a game. Has there been a favorite that you've had that you maybe haven't rolled out in a game before?
Oh, my favorite. Well, I did have a rise ball. I kind of stopped throwing that because it was hurting my back a little bit. But I would say curveball as well. My curveball is probably my fastest pitch, and it's usually where all my strikeouts come from. So, yeah.
And you have a different perspective of the game from the pitching side. Does that help you become a better hitter?
I think so. I think the more you pitch, the more you kind of recognize that, oh, this person's gonna throw probably this. Like when you have 2 strikes on you and like no balls, they're usually not gonna try to throw you another strike. They'll probably get you to chase something. And I think that the IQ of a pitcher it helps a lot when you're hitting, because you can kind of react and understand like what's gonna happen easier.
And earlier you said you've thrown more this season than you really ever have. Mm-hmm. What does rest and recuperation look like for you as a pitcher?
Just seeing our trainer, I more like to just relax the more I can and just lay down on a lazy day. Like, I like to be lazy on days we have off. It's my favorite thing ever. So just kind of just listening to your body, doing what needs to be done, hydrate, sleep as much as you can. So.
And when you're in the field, you throw the ball overhand, but the pitcher in softball is underhand. How big of an adjustment is that? Is it one? What's the difference there?
Yeah, so my whole entire life I've been doing it, so it's not like a huge difference for me. It's a little different than baseball, because in baseball, you know, pitchers can't last that long because the throwing overhand does hurt your arm after a while. So pitching underhand is definitely a lot easier to last longer in games, and it's not as painful. I mean, it's definitely hard on your body, but yeah, it's a big difference, so it's not really hard to adjust just because you get so used to it after playing your entire life. So.
I want to turn our attention now to this season. How do you evaluate where this Jennies team is right now?
Right now, I think our culture is bigger than it's ever been. I think this team has such a big opportunity to go so far, and I'm really proud of what we've done so far through the highs and lows. We stuck through it all. We persevered, and I think especially in this conference, this is one of the hardest conferences, MIAA. So, you know, you're going to see those ups and downs, and obviously we have big competition this weekend, and I think it's so inspiring how everyone kind of just fights through everything. We don't, like, no matter what the competition is, like, we still find a way to either split or sweep, and we've beat some really great teams this year, and it's been a big eye-opener. This team has been, it's a good change, and I really like it so far.
Looking towards the end of the regular season, you get back-to-back series at home to end out the regular season. Is there's something special about that?
Yes, absolutely. I love home games. I love being at home because you get just like the atmosphere of UCM overall, and just being at home, especially your senior year for your last, you know, however many regular season games, it's great because, you know, you get to get ready at home, you get to sleep in a little bit, your whole family's there. The team, like in the locker room, we listen to music really loud and we get ready together, do each other's makeup, and I know it's really girly, but that's my favorite part about it because it just brings us together, and especially home games, it's a lot of fun playing on our own turf.
And you talked about home, and you just said turf. There is new infield turf at the Jennies softball field. How has that changed things this season?
It's changed a lot. There's less bad hops on the dirt. There was a lot of bad hops, especially at first base when you're trying to pick balls. It's kind of, there was like a big mound of dirt there, so they would either die or they would just bounce completely the opposite direction. So with turf, it's more of like a reasonable hop. It'll hop either high or it'll just kind of skip a little bit. And with the turf, the weather doesn't really bother it much. I know that rain can still, if it rains hard enough, that it can still be slippery and stuff, and that we'd have to cancel. But it's been really great to have turf, less field maintenance as well, and tarping. So I didn't like that.
And you talked about home games. I want to ask you about games on the road. First off, what do those bus rides look like? How do you all pass that time?
Oh, the bus rides are so fun. At the beginning of the year, every new person has to do karaoke. And so that's one way that we do bus rides. I got a microphone from one of our assistant coaches, and I like to just like yell in it all the time. We'll listen to music on the way to games. Like I said again, like just doing each other's makeup. It's just such a fun time. Like we'll play card games on our phones together, and usually when everybody's asleep on the bus, that's usually when we watch Netflix and just be to ourselves. But other than that, it's such a fun time.
So that means you sang karaoke last year?
I did.
What song was it?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
So you picked the longest possible song.
I did it with my two roommates too, and we were exceptionally good at it. I mean, we had one person on the drums, one on the guitar, you know. It was really good.
And talking about those road games, what's the big difference then when you get to the facility? Is preparation different? Does something change road versus home? I
feel like at away games, it's more of like, you're more like serious at away games because like, oh, this isn't like my atmosphere, this isn't my area. But the warm up and like everything like that is still the same. Like we're still locked in, we're still ready to go. Because at home games, you're more relaxed. You're like, okay, this is my place. Like, you know the routine, you know the music's gonna be on, I gotta go warm up at this time. And then at away games, it's like a different schedule, so it kind of throws you in a different loop. But I'd say everything else is normally the same. We still are locked in straight to the game, and everything else is the same.
And what's your preparation personally like when you're a pitcher versus when you're not the starting pitcher that day?
Oh man, when I'm a pitcher, it's a lot more nerve-wracking. The preparation would usually be I have to hit first because I have to get through everybody and warm up first. So sometimes I'll just sit there in the dugout and I'll be like, oh, all right. And then first base, whenever I play first base in those games, I'm a lot more like relaxed, and like, cause I don't control the game at first, whereas pitching, it's like, oh, like every pitch of this game depends on what I throw. And so that can be a big difference in how nervous it can make me. So
And last season was a 30-win season for Jennies softball. Is there something that you were able to take from last season to really build into this one?
Yeah, so I'd say last season, especially being like my first year, kind of just learning our conference and what these teams like as pitchers and hitters and players overall. And especially as a team, kind of just like learning our conference better. I think we have improved so much, especially in especially our offense. Our offense has been exceptional this year. And so kind of just being like on top of our hitting every day and working on that every day is really helped us a lot, and especially in our conference. So.
Yeah, you mentioned practice. What does a typical practice look like for you?
A typical practice, I'd say we usually start with some, like, we'll split infield and outfield with defense days. And so infield will work together, outfield will work together, and then we'll all come together and do 21 outs, which is where we kind of play like game-like reps, and we get to 21 outs. And then on hitting days, we will usually split into groups, and we'll hit off the machine, front toss, and we'll just rotate throughout the day. So, yeah.
And before we go, is there something you would want someone to know who may know nothing about this Jennies softball team? What would you want them to know about this group?
This group is super special. I would say that the Jennies softball team is such a fun time. Especially if you're wondering if you should go to a game or not. This team is very special. You're going to see a lot of home runs. You're going to see a lot of excitement, a lot of thrill. There's so much emotion in these games, and I think this team overall is just so exciting and so fun to be around, and it will be worth it. So,
well, Bailey, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
That's all of the time we have for this episode. I'd like to thank our guests, Coach Susan Anderson and Bailey Brumley, for joining me today. My name is Brad Hadank, and I thank you for tuning in to Sportspage.